Hey guys, Jimmy here. Another video for you. This is a 2013 Volkswagen Tiguan. All of the model years should be around the same process. I'm going to tell you guys how to change the transmission fluid in this because this was due for one. We got a good deal on this car. It's a SE, really nice. But I think it had 79,000 miles. So I decided to do a transmission fluid change. So I'm going to tell you guys how to do this really quick without... I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible by just talking you through it, okay? So you can go back and watch if you need it. So first things first, get you 2 jugs of Valvoline Max Life multi-vehicle. I got these on Walmart for $32 plus tax. 2 jugs of that. It's multi-vehicle, okay? So instead of ordering the German stuff, you can put the German stuff in it if you want it. It's $16 a quart. So it's very expensive and you're going to need probably 7 quarts. So anyways, first things first. Get you some fluid and get you this pump. It's like, I got it on Amazon for like $15, $17, something like that. It's called like Mr. Pump or something, but it's actually universal, so it can fit the gallon jugs as well as the small ones. Then also get you some tubing. I got 10 feet of, that was my dogs fighting, sorry. 10 feet of, I believe it's 3/8, but it's a 10 millimeter inner diameter to fit the fill adapter that you're gonna buy on Amazon. This little fill adapter, I believe it's a metric 10 by 1.0 thread pattern. Works really well. You can just slide your tube on it and then start pumping your fluid in. So that being said, only other thing you might need is a infrared thermometer. These are cheap. You can get them from Harbor Freight. Measure something that you know what the temperature is, so like your forehead or something, and then that'll tell you if it's right. This one was like 8 degrees off from my body temperature on my forehead, so I just added that to, it was 8 degrees low. I added that to the actual temperature of the fluid that I measured. I'm going to tell you about that in a second. So get your car jacked up on ramps, use scotches with a jack, whatever you need to do. And then this is how this thing comes apart. So it's really easy. So in the front you have this little deflector. All you got to do, pop these off. You can use your hands maybe, just grab in the back and you can see it's kind of starting to pull. You just pop them out on each side. Then you're going to pull this forward. It's got little fingers in the front. After that, you've got like 10 torque screws around the outside of your little splash guard. The 2 in the back are a different size. They're like a bigger size, beefier screws. So once you pop those off, there they are. You can take this whole splash guard out of your way to get to your transmission pan. Now, after you get your transmission pan, take the plug out, let it drain as much as it can. Nothing may come out, and if it doesn't, that's fine, because the pan is made with like a little straw spillway up in there. When the fluid gets to the right temperature, it raises and starts running out or dripping out. So yeah, that's why it sounds complicated to fill this fluid, but I'm going to tell you guys how to do it. So after you put the plug back and no fluid runs out, or what fluid ran out did, take a 10 millimeter socket, go around the pan, take all of the bolts out except for 2 that are on opposite sides. Once you do that, this pan is going to be full of fluid. So take a flathead or whatever if you have to, and just kind of pop the pan loose, because it's going to be kind of like suction to it. So just kind of pop it loose and try to keep a drain pan under you as good as possible. That way when it comes down, you can let it down and then dump the pan fluid into there. After that, okay, your fluid filter is going to be up in there with 3 10 millimeter bolts that are torqued to 7 foot-pounds, or 5 foot-pounds, excuse me. It's not much. So if you don't have a torque wrench, use a 3/8, not a 3/8, a 1/4-inch socket, a small one, a ratchet, excuse me, can't talk today. Use a 1/4-inch ratchet, that way you don't over tighten them, just snug them, okay? You can always tighten something more, but after you break it, you can't tighten it anymore. So it's always under tighten it than over tighten it, okay? So anyways, after you change your filter, make sure that none of the gasket that's on the filter is stuck to the face of the transmission body. Just kind of make sure they're clean and just put it in there, put it back, snug it up. You know, 1, 2, 3, done. You're all done, and with the transmission filter. So keep your pan under because it's going to be dripping. Take your pan, clean it with a brake cleaner, clean the magnets inside, put them back. I didn't take the little spillway tube out. You'll see what I'm talking about, because I didn't think it was necessary. It's plastic. It doesn't really need to come out. Just clean it really well. After that, reinstall your pan. Start on opposite ends and torque in like a pattern like you would your wheels, but go around the pan at opposite ends. And make sure that they're torqued to around 7 foot-pounds, okay? After that, the next step, you're going to take your little fill adapter that I told you about. If you can't find it on Amazon, let me know. It's the one for an 09M or an 09G transmission. I think this was $9.99. All right, screw this in hand tight. You don't really have to use pliers or anything. I did to get it loose because it was just slippery, but you're going to tighten it in. Then slip your hose on to your pump, okay? And then pump in about 2 quarts of transmission fluid. After that, start the car, put it in each gear for 5 seconds, put it back in park, turn it off, okay? Now, use your infrared thermometer and hold it to the bottom of the pan, like this, okay? Let it reset. And you're gonna make sure that it is around 95 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit after you've pumped in as much fluid as you can until it runs out. So pump in the fluid after you started it. You pumped in 2 quarts. You let it run. Okay, turn it, put it in all the gears. Turn it back off. Pump in fluid gently, and every so often pull the hose off of this. Right while this is screwed in the pan, pull the hose off and see if it runs out and starts to stream. If it just because it's going to drip a little afterward and run out. But after it stops running out, you know that you're good, right? And then you can move on to the next step. So the next step is put the drain plug in, finger tight, okay? Start the car and let the car get to around 95 degrees Fahrenheit, all right? Once you take the plug out and everything drips, right? Because you got to be fast with it. Once it's 95 degrees and you're checking it with a thermometer on the outside, take a rag and wipe it after you take the plug out and see if you've got a steady drip coming. Because you're going to get an initial drip. Make sure it continues. If it doesn't, all right, turn the car off, pump more fluid into it, okay, to where it's not running out, but pump more fluid into it and do it again. You're going to have to let it cool, all right? But while you're doing this, some considerations is to make sure the car is level. So take a level. I got this little torpedo level and put it on the pan and make sure that it's level, right? And if not, use a jack to adjust which side of the car, the front, back, sides that you need to do to level it. And level the back half of the pan, right where the plug is. That'll tell you that the fluid is level with the spillway. So the objective here is to make sure that your infrared thermometer, right, is reading between 95 and 113 and you've got a steady drip starting to flow. If it gets any hotter, you're going to get a stream. So that's why you have to start over if not. So hopefully this helps you guys. Let me know if it does not. The transmission pan and the transmission filter and the gasket doesn't come with crush washers. I ended up going to Napa, getting this part number, and getting the copper washers. They worked perfect. So if you see this 301H9437, that's what I used. It works perfect. Torque the drain plug to just until the washer seats. If you don't have a torque wrench, if you do have a torque wrench, torque it to 17 foot-pounds. That's it. That's it, guys. That's all there is to it. Then reinstall everything. It's not that hard. But if you want to check it again after you drive it a couple days to make sure your fluid level's good, that's good, but you can't overfill these. I watched a guy on YouTube telling you guys how to do this. It was like Eddie's Garage or something. Really cool guy. I actually enjoyed his videos, but the one thing he forgot to mention was filling the car while it's level. It doesn't look like this is level, it's on a hill, but it actually is. I did make sure. So that's the part that he forgot to mention, was making sure the car is level and that it's at the right temperature before it starts to run out. So you're not done after the initial fill until it runs out. After that, now you have to let it stop draining, put the plug in, start the car, get it to the right temperature, remove the plug, make sure that it's dripping out at that point. After you've cycled all the gears, you're in neutral, and it has to be idling. You can't just get the temperature to the 95 and 113 degrees Fahrenheit with the car not running, because what's going to happen is all of your fluid's going to flow out of the body into the pan. It's going to fool you into thinking it's full. That's what it did to me. So make sure that you check it again after the cars went through a cooling down cycle. So yeah, hopefully this saves you some money. Let me know if you guys have any questions or anything I forgot to mention. Sorry, I know I ran through that fast, but this could have been like a 30-minute video. Instead, it's a 9-minute and 30-second video. So take care, guys. Have a great day.